Max, what's your reaction to Eli coming back at Odell?
Man, I say it every time. I love Eli Manning. Like, Odell, don't ask me to choose between you and Eli Manning. You ain't done nothing for me. I mean, you were exciting. Eli Manning won my football Giants 2 Super Bowls, and one of them against the undefeated, were about to be anointed, coronated, like the greatest team in the history of American team sports, and then Eli did that. And by the way, if you think that was luck, what was the Manningham throw?
Oh,
the Manningham throw is one of the greatest of all time. I love Eli Manning, but that was then. Eli sitting there chuckling with the 2 rings, that's great. But that was then. Eli has it, and I was defending Eli way past most people. I was saying, no, he's still good. It's the offensive line. It's this and that, da-da-da. And then at a certain point, it's like, look, he's no good anymore. But guess who's really, really, really good? Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, they were better. Eli was better with Odell on the field. So Eli clapping back. Eli, I love you. But maybe he just doesn't need to make a comment about Odell
he
at
does.
all.
How do you – it seems like you're saying that somehow Odell won in this exchange. It seems like Eli – I am team Odell most of the time, but in this case, it seems clear that Eli won the exchange. The idea that the best team or the most popular team in the most populated city in the United States is on national television, and Odell thinks it's because of him only, like that's kind of irrational. And then if you go a step further and talk about how Eli's played – he kind of big-timed him. He's stunning on him hard because he has his best plays are memorable plays. They're all-time plays. Again, that David Tyree one, maybe it's luck, maybe it's not, but he gets credit for being a part of that. That Manningham pass, there's not very many people who can complete that pass in that situation. And then he threw it to Plaxico Burress for the game winner. And you look at that.
In the first one, yeah.
Yeah, what he's saying is reminding people of that. And then you look at what Odell Beckham has done in the biggest game of his career, the only playoff game he played in, and maybe he only played in one because of Eli. You can blame Eli for that. But the one he played in, he was bad. He dropped the touchdown pass. He dropped 2 total passes in that game, and he only had 28 yards. So when it comes to big timing career-wise, Eli wins. But 2-time Super Bowl MVP, he can start on.
That's your reaction to the clapback, and that's perfectly legitimate. I agree with that reaction. If you want to say who won the exchange, Eli by chuckling with his 2 rings, you can say to have won the exchange. You're asking me for my reaction because I'm a Giants fan. I'm like, yo, Eli, for the last couple of years, you've stunk on ice, and this dude has been the most talented guy I've ever seen. He choked in the playoffs. Odell, I warned you. I was gonna kill you for that if you did it. When you're down in Miami, no problem as long as you ball. But you didn't ball. Your team lost and you choked. That's terrible. Eli wins the exchange. But the bigger picture for me is, why is the QB who was bailed out by the presence of this receiver on the team laughing at this dude who's, by the way, about to set the world on fire in Cleveland? Once upon a time, the lake's set on fire. Now they're about to set the world on fire, and the Giants are going to stink. By the way, his receiving core is all hurt. Yeah. He's got no one to throw the ball to still. Which
is why he's relying on his pass and his rings. And I appreciate the history lesson you threw in there, but to really drill down on this, to be fair, Eli wasn't really clapping at him. He kind of just said, it didn't really bother me. And then Kurt Warner kind of nudged him along, like those 2 rings. So I'm not sure that Eli was coming out firing, but when he did fire, it was a kill shot. He's like, yeah, I won a couple games. You know what couple he's talking about? He's talking about Super Bowl games. Yep. And as bad as he's been and as up and down as he's been throughout his career, when you needed Eli Manning to step up and make big plays, he has made historic Hall of Fame caliber plays.
By the way.
And he reminded, I'm just saying.
538.com. They did a who's by one formulation, who's the most clutch quarterback of all time, right? Now, Eli won it by so much, they changed the methodology. And now this time, he wasn't so much ahead of everyone, still came in number 1. What I say about Eli... All of a sudden,
you respect the nerds all of a sudden, when it supports your opinion.
No doubt. I always respect the nerds. I'm just telling you, you're being a big one. Look,
proud of it.
Eli... I always say, if I'm at a spot and I see Eli Manning, he's not paying for a drink. I love him forever for that. Odell, if I'm at a spot, still paying for his drinks. I ain't buying Odell drink. However,
I think you can afford it.
However, if we're talking about right now as a fan of this franchise, who I'm madder at, The quarterback who stayed entrenched and can't do anything for years now and is stunting the development of the team versus the wideout who for a while was maybe the best player in football until it mattered most. That's true. Who's taking the criticism for the fact that his quarterback is no good? What's my reaction? Is like, damn, man.
But he started this fight. This is not about who's better right now or who ruined the Giants. He started, or not fight necessarily, but he took shots saying that the only reason why they were on prime time was because Odell Beckham.
But I think that's true.
I don't think that's the only reason they're on prime time. There are a lot of teams on prime time.
I got a little nugget for you.
No one wanted to see the Giants on prime time.
The Giants are going to be on primetime TV 3 times this season. Odell Beckham Jr. not a part
However,
of
they
that
replaced
one.
Odell with the only guy maybe more spectacular than him, who's Saquon Barkley. Yeah.
Then we also have the Browns. They're going to be on primetime 4 times.
That's the Odell bump.
Oh.
That's the
Yeah,
Odell
look
bump.
So maybe there's something to
Browns
Look
are
at Charlotte.
making
4
primetime
times. So wait, is
TV.
Cleveland the most populous market?
No. Again, context matters. Context matters. Cleveland is largely irrelevant without them being good right now. New York is always relevant.
How many times was Cleveland on national TV last year? I don't recall.
That's a good question.
That's because they
Not as many as they are this
because they
year.
didn't have Odell Beckham.
Exactly, but Cleveland is different than New York. Cleveland, the Giants have never left New York City.
Cleveland is different than New York.
Exactly.
And Odell just showed. This is like an experiment.
Let's not be absurd.
This is like an experiment,
It's
right?
not an
What's the
experiment.
control group?
There is no control
hold on.
group because New York is not Cleveland.
Right.
Stop pretending like New York
However,
and Cleveland are the same place.
let's isolate variables. Odell Beckham Jr. He's on the Giants, a terrible last place team. They're on primetime 3 times. He goes to Cleveland. They're on primetime 4 times.
And the rise of Baker Mayfield had nothing to do with that.
Something to do with it, but
gosh.
it wasn't going to be 4
You
times
can't
without
isolate
Odell.
variables when they are not the same. You don't know how science
Odell
works.
had like the highest selling jersey in the league
contexts
for a
are not the
while.
same.
He's on a last place team.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.